We got breaking news from the Rose Bowl in terms of the Rose Bowl game. In other words, called the College Football Playoff Semifinals. It will be moved to the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. It was the home of the Dallas Cowboys and will not be played in the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena, California. Obviously, it's a very historic stadium. And it's not going to be played there due to the rising of COVID-19 cases in California. Same thing happened to the 49ers a month back. They ended up playing the last two home games in Arizona. And the Pasadena Tournament of Roses made first appeal for exemption for the Rose Bowl game in November, and then they did the same thing. I think it was last week or a couple of weeks ago. They followed up with a second request for it, and both of them were denied. And they had asked state health officials to allow 400 to 500 spectators in the Rose Bowl Stadium, which seats 95,000 people. It is unclear if the game in Dallas will be called the CFP Semifinals at the Rose Bowl game presented by Capital One, because the name is a part of a master license agreement and is co-owned by the Pasadena Tournament of Roses and the city of Pasadena themselves. The game will, of course, be on New Year's Day and will be broadcasted on ESPN. This was confirmed by the Rose Bowl themselves and written by Heather Dinich of ESPN. She is a senior staff writer. I'll start with you, Mario, because this is a very big deal, and you really think about it. Back in the day and even now, the Rose Bowl is basically the standard of all bowl games. That's like the bowl of all bowls.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Rose Bowl, it's been around forever. And I mean, so many memorable moments that came from the Rose Bowl. I mean, recently, like recent moments from the Rose Bowl, you can go back to like 2015 with Oregon with Marcus Mariota, where they Oregon just basically broke records in that game. They like set a record with like 59 points in like a Rose Bowl game with 41 second half points. You can go to Sam Darnold. He leads the comeback for USC when he was down 14 points in the fourth quarter and he came back to win. Um, Vince Young beating USC in that upset to take the national title. That's a big one right there too. I'm looking at a list right now. Just Matt Leinart. He was a great quarterback for USC under Pete Carroll. He did a lot of great things for USC, and he's a big legend in USC football. But yeah, there's been so many. I can keep reading, but there's been so many memorable moments. Last year, Justin Herbert won a Rose Bowl too. So I mean, there's been so many memorable moments in the Rose Bowl, and the Rose Bowl is so historic in college football that like you walk into that stadium and you can just think about all the historic college football players that played in that stadium. And you can think of like all the historic moments, and you're standing like right on that turf as a player. There's nothing better than that. And for them to play in AT&T Stadium, don't get me wrong, Dallas Cowboys Stadium obviously has its own history to itself. But as for a college level, there is nothing on that pedigree besides the Rose Bowl. Maybe the only game that's more important than the Rose Bowl is the national championship if the Rose Bowl is not being held in the national championship. Like last year, Justin Herbert won a Rose Bowl, but he didn't win the national championship. So if the national championship is in a different place, then that's the game that's the biggest one. But the most historic bowl game of all time is always the Rose Bowl. That's the game you're always looking forward to. Um, and honestly, it's honestly just a great like place. It's honestly it's one of the things I look forward to every single college season. Um, and I mean, if I'm a player, I'm pretty upset about this. Like I'm pretty upset about losing an opportunity to play in one of the most memorable stadiums in college.
Right, I agree. I agree. That I look forward to watching the Rose Bowl game every year. That's one of the few college football games annual college football games that I watch consistently. Um, and the fact that it's not going to be in the Rose Bowl, it's just going to be a different scene. I mean, it's going to be in AT&T Stadium, aka Jerry World. That's a very gorgeous stadium, in my opinion, one of the better stadiums in America. But it's just the thing with Jerry World is that you compare it to the Rose Bowl, and yeah, it's more modern, it's bigger, it's got this big jumbotron, and legend has it that it has more power than, I forgot what African country. That's a legend. I'm not sure if that's actually true, but um it just doesn't hold the charm and history like the Rose Bowl. like you said, there's so many memorable moments that happen in the Rose Bowl, and in the Rose Bowl Stadium itself. Like, I mean, it's a lot of memorable moments happen in Jerry World too. Don't get me wrong, but they're even the biggest ones don't even match the caliber of that in the Rose Bowl Stadium. I mean, it's going to be a different scene, and you can tell it's going to be a different scene too because they don't even know if the name is going to be the same. Um, they don't even know if they're going to call it the Rose Bowl this year, given that it's not even going to be playing the Rose Bowl. So I mean, yeah, I would as a player, I would be pretty upset about it too. I understand why they're doing it. Um, you know, because of the COVID cases and all of that. But as far as I'm concerned, it's just going to be a very different scene. It's a very big deal, given that the Rose Bowl is still the standard of bowl games in college, even to this day. It's just going to be a very different scene.
I completely agree, man, and that's why I'm saying this isn't gonna feel like a Rose Bowl game. I mean, it's the winner's probably still gonna get the rose,
Yeah,
like there's that trophy, and then there's the rose, so it's still gonna get that rose. And don't get me wrong, I mean, it's gonna be Alabama versus Notre Dame, two of the most prestigious colleges when it comes to football, so it's going to be a good game. But it won't have like that Rose Bowl like aura to it, like that air. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I bet the players will feel that too. Like, don't get me wrong, they're gonna know this is a playoff game and everything like that. Because again, this game determines who goes to the national championship, and then you got the other one with Clemson and Ohio State. But this one determines who goes to the national championship. So they're gonna definitely feel that, and they're definitely gonna play their best. But I don't think it's gonna have the same Rose Bowl like mystique to it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I agree.
But I mean, it's still the Rose Bowl. It's still Alabama versus Notre Dame. I mean, I want my Notre Dame to win. You know what I'm saying? I want my Notre Dame to win a championship. I want us to play Clemson again and beat them and get our revenge. But hey, look, I'll say this: good luck to both teams, especially my Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be
Mhm.
biased there because I want Notre Dame to win. But good luck to both teams. And honestly, it's just some sad news.
Yeah, it is. It's very sad. And one more thing before we end this video, the Rose Bowl game will be on in AT&T Stadium, in Arlington, Texas, New Year's Day on ESPN.